Hello, family and friends. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Cody. Today we're coming to you from Pulilan in Bulacan. From the title of this episode, you can tell that we made it off the mountain and now we're down in the valley. Actually, it's the flatlands toward Manila. A couple things that I wanted to open up with, just explaining some of the photos and videos that you saw in the last episode. Maybe some of you were curious about what they were. If not, I'll go ahead and try to explain as many of them as I can. There was quite a few pictures of churches. I've been a big fan and supporter of all of the churches that I've seen here. Just the construction, the architecture, just some wonderful scenes. The one that I specifically showed you in pink, that was a nunnery. There was actually a nun leading some prayers through the wire grate that you saw, the grate looking toward the front of the altar. I don't know how many nuns in particular stay there, but there was a section, that was the photos where we showed you the candles and a couple other pictures from there. The steeple in particular, the front steps. And then we also showed you some pictures from a museum called the Ben Cab Museum. Well, the Ben Cab, as I told you, a lot of the Philippine words are shortened. Ben Cab stands for a famous architect from, very close to Baguio. I don't remember specifically where he's from. But anyway, his real name was Benjamin Cabrera, and he was an artist well known in the Philippines, and they built a museum around a lot of his pieces. And those are the pieces that you saw from the museum that we showed you. That one room in particular, that was the erotic room. And I'm telling you, the pieces in there were rather erotic, but very artistic. There were paintings on the wall. There were carved statues, and I think some clay figures. But that was, I haven't done a whole lot of museums in my lifetime, but that was quite exciting for me, and I really enjoyed it. There was about 3 levels. That was also the place where you saw that cafe that we ate at. Good food down there too. That was part of that adventure that we took. As far as our time in Baguio City, not a whole lot of free time. It rained and poured and a lot of fog. I'll speak a little bit more of that here down the road. Another thing that you saw in the pictures were a picture of an old, it might have been an old church looking thing, but actually it was a hotel. It was originally started in the early 1900s by the Jesuits, and it was a place where the Jesuits had their collection place where they, I don't know what they call it, a seminary maybe. But it was there for many years, and then later on during World War II, the Japanese took it over, and it became some sort of headquarters and barracks for some unit. And then after the war, the United States took it over, and it became some sort of a diplomatic hotel. And then eventually, it was rented out as rooms to a luxurious hotel, and I think it shut down, if I'm not correct about the sign, in about 1988. So it was almost a 70 or 80-year-old structure that we were looking at there. And then another photo that we showed you was a horseback riding location. Wasn't going to be much going on because as soon as we went by there, she started to pick up again with the rain. You may hear the rain here in Pulilan. It's been raining hard off and on all day. But it rained there toward the ends of our tour. And then we also stopped at a children's park of Baguio. And you saw some pictures there, hopefully, of, in the background, some rides and those elephants, structures. Just, again, things to see that we saw, and we're going to show you. Coming down off of the mountain, we had a few more scenes. I'll go ahead and try to show you some of the videos and still pictures that I captured of the weather. I don't know if I did a very good job or not, but I tried to show you just exactly how much moisture we've had. In the last, I want to say 48 hours or so, it has rained nonstop, off and on. And previous to that, in the last 3 weeks, there's actually been 3 tropical storms, or what they call cyclones. The 2 that we have dealt with are Luis and Mai. And Mai is still giving us remnants, but there's another one headed on the way. They call it a tropical depression right now, and that's going to be something named with the letter N as they go in alphabetical order. I will tell you a little bit about the storms themselves. Like I said, lots of rain and fog. Coming off the mountain, it was raining on us, and fog we experienced. You talk about pea soup fog. Well, we had that coming down the mountain, and we had to be very careful in those windy roads as we got down. It took us quite a while, maybe 2 or 3 hours to get down from the top. Baguio was probably, I want to say, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 feet in elevation higher than where we're at now in Pulilan. So it was quite a ways up. Just a little bit about those storms. It does do a lot of damage. The water runs off of those hills, even though there's a bunch of tree and vegetation to try and catch it. The streams were running. You could see white water all through the valleys. I'm sure that those scenes are something that's lacking most recently in Colorado when we haven't had much moisture, at least in the last couple of years that I've been there. I'm promised my family there in Greeley that I would try to bring home some rain because it's quite hot. I know it's been terribly warm in the States. Just a comparison here, in Baguio, when we left, the temperature was 19 degrees Celsius, which calculates to about 66 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we arrived down in Pulilan, which, like I said, was about 4,000 or 5,000 feet lower in elevation, it was actually 29 degrees Celsius, and that computed to 84 degrees Fahrenheit. So almost an 18 degree difference. And it previously had been in the 90s, so that's about 35 degrees Celsius. And the temperature was very similar to what it was back in Greeley, but you don't have the humidity. And the humidity is something that you have to deal with. Even at those higher elevations, the humidity was so high that the density was so thick that that's nothing but mist and rain. As far as the students go up there, they had classes canceled on the account of rain, very similar to ours back home when we get snowstorms and stuff. But here, they also have online classes and can do school remotely because of the technology that was needed back in the days of COVID. So that was interesting. Two of the kids that we were staying with were college age. They were just starting. They actually got in a half a day before their classes were canceled. And then they were sent home online. That was on Friday. And then the youngest one left school and was doing remote classes, but his school at home was canceled as well, with those students doing online at home. Just a little bit about the damage that I saw. There were actually about 8 mudslides that closed different roads throughout Baguio. There was really only one route out that was open to us. There was a little bit of sliding that you saw, but for the most part, it was open. I also saw that there was actually 19 trees that had been, I wouldn't say knocked over by wind, but certainly the moisture had got down to the roots, and those trees were bent over and crossed the highways. So that was another reason for road closures. And then the last statistic I'll give you, in the last 48 hours previous to getting here, there's been about 382,000 people that have been displaced from their homes in 8 different regions here in Luzon. Now, most of the moisture has hit the 2 northern islands of the 3 main islands, Luzon and Visayas. And there's a lot of flooding in Manila and that area. And some of the pictures that I'll show you on our way down the mountain to Pulilan actually also will show you some flooded lowlands, and then some raging rivers that have been widened. Just some sights to see. I try to get as many of those pictures on the road through the rainstorm. I'll show you some heavy rain as well there, just to give you an idea. A couple other things I wanted to point out to you. Really, the Coke products here are the dominant factor. You will occasionally find Pepsi or Diet Pepsi and Pepsi products if you go to the big markets. But for the most place, you're going to get Coke or Diet Coke or Coke Zero. Coke Zero is big. And now they've come out with a new Sprite Zero. So Coke and Sprite go hand in hand, and that's part of what you'll see. And 2 other products that I saw quite proficiently were advertising for cigarettes. You don't see that so much in the States anymore because of the laws that were changed for cigarette advertising and that sort of thing. Here you'll see a lot of advertising for Marlboros and Camels. And I'm assuming that most of that reason is because of the influence there again of the American military back in World War II and the recapturing of the Philippines and then introducing them to American culture and that sort of thing. So just a couple of items of note there. Also, I wanted to mention that, we talk about at home urban sprawl, where cities will grow and it will be mostly in the urbans and suburbans where you'll see a lot of the growth. I know that Greeley's been growing, Loveland, that area north of Denver, big time in the last several years, just since I've been there. And the time since my daughter's been there in 2005 or 7, somewhere in that neighborhood. The community and area is just growing tremendously. You're getting more roads on your interstates. I did have a few scenes in videos of the interstates here that I mentioned on the Telex. I don't remember specifically what one we were on, but that's what they call their interstate, our LEX, and then whatever region it is, they'll put the prefix in there. And you'll get some scenes of that. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, supposedly the rain was supposed to stop on Tuesday, but in looking at the radar, I see that there's a bunch more of weather pattern and green waves coming off of Vietnam, which is due west from the Philippines in our particular region. So I was hoping to get up to Subic Bay and do some more sightseeing up there, and then maybe even actually getting in a round of golf with one of the older family members, the one that gave us a couple of nights at the John Hay Hotel and Resort in Baguio, but I don't know if we're going to get that in. So we'll do the best we can, and if we do, we'll take some pictures and photos for you. I'm assuming that we're going to be looking at some weather. There's a third tropical storm coming this way. Like I said, it's going to be named a letter N whenever it gets here. I guess the difference between a cyclone and a typhoon is the wind and the low pressure system. There's a lot heavier low pressure and a circular rotation when you get to the typhoons. There's still going to be a rotation for cyclones because that picks up your moisture from the ocean, and that's why the heavy dump of rain. So just a little bit of information there for you to start off this particular blog and episode. And this is where we'll shut it off for now, and then we'll go ahead and insert our photos and pictures that we have for this episode. And we'll check you out in a bit. Well, there you have it. Another episode of Coffee with Cody. Hopefully I was able to explain some things for you. You enjoyed the weather that I showed you. And you're hearing right now one of the motorcycles outside. We're on a thoroughfare just outside of the apartment here. And then also maybe some of that rain will fall, but hopefully not. And I'm hoping that it'll stop so that I can get some golf in and some sights and sounds from Subic Bay. Because it's my understanding that there definitely is a naval base and presence there. We are going to have that particular one coming out on Wednesday if we get some sightseeing in. If not, we'll show you whatever we can and maybe talk about some other interesting things about the Filipino culture and people. And then we'll have our last one, Philippines. In the Philippines, our video, an episode will be on Sunday, the day that I fly home. I'm flying out of Clark Air Force Base, Clark Airport. It's the old Air Force Base during the war here and U.S. presence after that. And then I'll fly from there to Taipei again, and from Taipei I will go to L.A. and then L.A. to Denver. So there's actually 3 flights that we catch. The longest one's going to be a 10-hour layover in Denver. No, not Denver, but California in LA. And maybe I'll be able to get some pictures with Tracy there. So with that, this has been Coffee with Cody, signing out.